Tonight's species, you're going to have to run far and fish deep. These fish love to eat squid and a variety of different stinky baits. Their big eye and long bill is something that I will never forget. It is, for sure, one of my favorite on the menu. Tonight we are talking swordfish here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, powered by Harbor Trucks and presented by Yamaha.
This is the Florida Insider Fishing Report, and we're your hosts, Brie Gabrielle and Captain Rick Murphy, all dressed in the red, the white, and the blue, of course, to wish you all a happy 4th of July and get you on that holiday weekend bite we know y'all are after. Right, Rick?
Absolutely, but first things first.
Yes.
It is your birthday.
It is? Oh my gosh, I forgot.
Is her actual birthday.
Yes, I was born on the 4th, you know. America's birthday, my birthday, it's all good.
You came in the world with a bang, didn't you?
I did, absolutely.
As my girl, making an entrance right on from the very beginning.
Always, always, and many of you might set out to get that swordfish bite this weekend if the conditions are right. So Rick, why don't you tell us a little bit more on these creatures of the deep?
Well, you know, the one thing I said, like I said in the open there,
yes.
Bree, you are going to have to fish deep, and we brought in one of our experts about swordfish. I don't want to give up the secret, but I gotta tell you, I caught one in 1,921 feet of water with our first Captain Randy towel and hand cranked.
I was just gonna say hand crank.
Hour and 45 minutes, I think, but Randy will straighten that out if I'm wrong. So.
Absolutely. All right, well, I know Dave Ferrell has plenty more to add to that at the CCA workbench. You're looking pretty not independent over there, Dave. You got our friend right over there.
I wasn't born on the 4th of July. I'm a spook baby. I had to come home on Halloween. That's when I came
we're
home.
holiday babies.
But we got Ray Rocher here. He's going to
Woohoo!
tell us about catching swordfish because he gets to do it a lot in a very hard place.
All right, well, I'm excited for that. Thanks for being here, Ray. All right, well, let's start our show off with a bang in the Garmin Keys region where huge sorties are being caught all the time, and Captain Randy Tao is here to tell us when, the where, and the how.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. You know, here in the Garmin Keys region, guys are daytime sword fishing quite a bit. From Key Largo all the way to Key West, guys are doing it. Now, the depth seems to be pretty consistent up and down the coast from 1,500 to 1,700 feet. Kind of seems like a good depth for most of the guys to drop down. Now, when you're rigging up to do this, you're going to need a pretty substantial outfit with braided line. 65-pound braid is what I like to use, about 10 pounds of lead, and a long leader to get that bait away from your lead. And the trick is not getting it tangled when you deploy it down that deep. And then also, as you're fishing it, you want to keep your line straight up and down, and you want to pay attention to the bite, because sometimes those swordfish are very subtle in the way they bite the bait because of the depth and the amount of line out. Sometimes you just see a little twitch with the rod and you're not sure of what it is. Sometimes it's not obvious, and you got to work at it. And a lot of times it takes a little bit of just playing with them for a second to get that fish on there. And once you got them on, you certainly got your hands full. And I've got a photo. Captain Nick Stanczyk, he is one of the absolute best. His boat is the Broad-Minded out of Bud Mary's, and he sent this picture with Larry and company with a pumpkin swordfish they caught just recently off Isla Mirada.
All right, what else you got for us offshore, Randy?
You know, the dolphin, we've been talking about dolphin for the last few weeks, and they're strong. There's plenty of dolphin out, and everybody's getting into them, and it's one of those fish that guys with smaller boats, guys with bigger boats, a lot of people can get in on it and have fun. And the weather's been nice. The weather's been calm. It's been hot, and a lot of guys can get out there. Now, 600 feet, I've heard reports all the way up to 1,200. So depending on where you're leaving from and how you're fishing, you want to start looking for those birds, and you want to start looking for the weeds, because a lot of these weeds are starting to line up now into weed lines, and a lot of these dolphins are starting to get under them. And also, the bait is starting to show up more and more under the weeds. So that's always a good sign. If you've got a boat with a tuna tower on it, you have an advantage of looking down into the water as you're driving down a weed line, and you can see these dolphins sometimes when the birds are not on them. You know, the birds have been on the dolphin lately, but as we get into some of these weed patches, sometimes the birds aren't there, so it's nice to just take a look under some of these big weed patches when you find them. I've got a photo, Captain Davy Jones, with his boat Munster Fishing out of the Square Grouper in Isla Mirada. He sent me this recent dolphin catch with his anglers.
Man, that's
photo.
a really cool angle of the
is.
photo, man. I'm going to have to steal that. I'm just going on notice right now. Let everybody know I'm going to steal that idea. Good job. All right, let's go inshore. Speaking of stealing spots, you've been stealing them from me for 30 years. What do you got inshore, bub?
Well, I wish there was some snook in there for me, but those are old spots. The new spots now are doing really well. Around Flamingo, I've heard some good reports along the coastline, the beaches, and guys are having some really good fishing with snook right now, mostly on the higher tide, a high incoming or a high outgoing tide where you've got that water high enough where it's not real hot, and guys are finding fish along those beaches with live bait, pilchards, pinfish. They're using a 1/4 to a 3/8 ounce jig head, and sometimes you can fish them under a cork when you've got some current. You're drifting it by a down tree or something like that. And a lot of these fish right now are oversized, so they're over that 33-inch mark. You can't keep them anyway because it's close season, but some really nice big snook being caught still. This has been a few weeks now, and it's still going on good. I've got a photo from Captain Ted Benbow with Skins and Fins Charters out of Alamorada, and his anglers are big fans of the show, Hector, Nico, and Tyler, and this is their big snook they caught with Captain Ted.
All right, guys, you were awesome, man. Thank you so much for sending in that photo. Randy, what? You got one more species to go, so tell, what do you got?
Triple tail. Triple tail have been just the go-to fish. They're fun to catch. You're sight casting. The fly fishing guys, the bait guys, it's kind of good for everybody, and they're great table fare. They're really good to eat, and they've been floating around, ever since the pots got picked up with the stone crab season closed. Seems like the triple tail have just been looking for them, and guys are finding them. That white belly sticks out really well when you're looking for them, and just ease over to them with a light spinning rod and a piece of shrimp or a real light jig, and you're going to get their attention. And I've got a photo of one of the greats, Ted Jurasik, with Tibor fly reels with his big triple tail he caught on his fly rod.
All right, man. Thank you so much, Randy. He's showed me more spots than he stole from me. I want you to know he has really been always great for me. But let's go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Florida Keys region. He says inshore, triple tail, look for their white bellies floating on the surface. Throw a light spinning rod with a shrimp for the guaranteed results, Brie. And then offshore, dolphins start looking in 600 feet of water. Pay attention to the birds working and the weed lines. Fish are starting to show up under those weed patches that he
Guaranteed
talked about.
results.
Guaranteed
I love
results.
the sound of that.
That sounds positive.
Sounds good. All right, let's now take a look at some tournaments going on in the Florida Keys. Anglers target 43 species of fish at the Key West Fishing Tournament, a free entry multi-division challenge that continues through August 31st. Catches and witnessed releases can be entered at several tackle shops throughout the Lower Keys and Key West or at the tournament's website. Key West Robert James Slam Tournament, set for September 6th through the 8th, targets tarpon, permit, and bonefish, so anglers can aim for a flats grand slam. The event raises funds for cystic fibrosis treatment and research. For more information on all tournaments in the Florida Keys, it's available at flakeys.com. All right, now let's welcome Andy Newman from the Florida Keys. Hey, Andy.
The Stock Island Marina Village Key West Blue Marlin Tournament is much more than a traditional fishing competition. Set for July 17th to the 20th, it coincides with the island's annual Hemingway Days Festival. There's plenty of wacky activities, including Key West's version of the Running of the Bulls and the renowned Papa Hemingway Lookalike Contest. More details on the Marlin Tournament at keywestmarlin.com, and for more information on Hemingway Days, go to flakeys.com.
He does.
Bulls looks super exciting.
Let's go
I love
do
it.
that.
Let's go do it. In our red shorts.
Yes,
we'll be
of
good.
course.
We'll be
Here
good.
we are. I'm going to wear this outfit right
All
here.
right, the East Region Captain Mike Holliday says to look for the swords near the surface at night and on the bottom during the day, right, Mike?
That's true, Brie. Here she comes, Miss America.
Oh,
Happy birthday, Brie.
almost. Thank
Yes.
you.
Well, so the best sword fishing in my region takes place off the humps in 1,700 feet of water off southern Palm Beach County. But that doesn't mean you can't catch fish throughout the entire region. When you get out there, the plan is to run south, drift north, hopefully ending up near the inlet that you came out of at the end of your trip. While the nighttime action is particularly good on the full moon, the daytime sword fishing between 1,500 to 1,800 feet of water off Martin and St. Lucie counties has been pretty consistent lately, particularly in the last couple of weeks. The trick is to find where the fish are congregated, so you want to network with other swordfish anglers before heading out, just to kind of get a general feel for where those fish are located. This time of year, seems like the swordfish are out a little deeper at night. Then they move into about 1,500 feet of water during the daytime, often hunting around small humps on the bottom. Those humps kind of just let them get out of the current. At night, you want to set your bait at 50-foot intervals, 50, 100, 150, 200 feet. But in the daytime, you just want to go all the way to the bottom. You can fish a rigged squid or a dolphin or bonita belly. Dolphin or bonita bellies are really the key baits because they don't tangle in the line when you're dropping it all that depth. You can get away with a squid or a ladyfish when you're nighttime fishing. Your baits are more up on the surface, less likely to tangle. At night, listen to the radio. Move to the depths where you're hearing the fish are being caught. That's usually 1,700 to 1,800 feet of water this time of the year. Average swordfish in my region is going to be 50 to 100 pounds. The other thing I got going, the new and full moons in July and August, they create these super strong tides on the offshore reefs, and that really fires up the wahoo bite in my region, particularly off Palm Beach County. But at the same time, we have this summer population of bonita and juvenile blackfin tuna around as major food source for those wahoo. So when you see those bonita or small tunas, there's likely a wahoo in the area. It can be anywhere from 100 feet of water on out. It seems like the best wahoo action, though, is at 200 to 350 feet of water, particularly from Jupiter to Palm Beach. A lot of fishermen like the high-speed troll at dawn, and then they fish till like 9 o'clock and head to work. And there's a pretty good bite at dawn, but the majority of fish are caught throughout the course of the day by anglers that are trolling or live baiting. For trolling, pretty hard to beat a red and black Williamson wahoo catcher with a double hook ballyhoo or double hook swimming mullet on it. You want to get a big profile there, get the bait down with a lead line or a trolling sinker, and you'll get the bite. Average wahoo is going to be 20 to 40 pounds. I got a photo. That's Don Cooper and Tony Nizzi with a 51-pound wahoo. They caught that fish in 132 feet of water, straight out off of St. Lucie Inlet and Stewart. That fish ate a ballyhoo and red and black feather combination.
Good day.
All right, let's go inshore, bub.
Well, every spring and summer we get a good concentration of triple tail in the Indian River. The majority of those fish are between the Stewart Causeway and South Bridge and Fort Pierce. There's usually a line of crab traps on either side of the channel, so you run one way up the crab traps looking for them. When you get to where you're going to turn around, you run across the channel and run that other set of channel markers. Just look for the fish on the surface and stop and throw to them. Another option is to blind cast at the channel marker and manatee zone signs. That a lot of times has some of the bigger fish, but you don't get to spot them. If you're running and you spot a fish, spin back around, drop the trolling motor, sneak within casting distance, throw a live shrimp, either free-lined or put it under a quick cork. I like fishing them on corks so the current and the wind takes it towards where the fish is, and I can see where my bait is at all time. For fish on the markers, put a quarter-ounce jig head or a brown or chartreuse jig, put a shrimp on that, cast it to the marker, let it sink, make a half dozen casts at each marker. If you don't get bit, move on to the next one. Average triple tail is going to be 4 to 10 pounds. The other thing, the catch and release snook action has been outstanding around the inlets and also on the beaches, although the influx of seaweed on the beaches has been making it a little tough for those guys that are fishing from shore. The Hope Sound Wildlife Refuge, Bathtub Beach, Walton Rocks Beach, and South Beach in Fort Pierce are all good spots right now. They're seeing a lot of snook in those areas, hunting the troughs and working those shoreline rock piles. There's also a lot of fish showing up in good numbers at the Lake Worth and Juno Beach piers. The Juno pier is covered with pilchards. It's just black underneath that pier with bait. So the snook are just stuck in there right now. If you want to throw lures at flies, best action is going to be at low light, say from like dawn to about 8 a.m. That's when the fish are most aggressive. For lures, pretty hard to beat a saltwater assassin 4-inch shad in either that green hornet or copper juice colors. Pair them up with a quarter-ounce or 3/8 ounce jig head and then cast parallel to shore. The fish are in pretty tight to shore right now. There's also been a lot of pilchards and thread fins along the shore. You can cast net them, put a hook in them, throw them right back out. Average snook is 8 to 15 pounds. I got a photo of a snook. That's Courtney Milam and 5-year-old Mercer with a snook they caught in And Stuart, that fish ate a live goggle eye.
Wow, that's
Cutie.
cool. Goggle eye fishing with snooks. That's cool.
They eat goggle eyes and runners pretty well.
All right, man. Tell me about the bass quickly.
Well, there's no fish in South Florida like the summer heat as much as a peacock bass. And there's been great fishing in the South Florida canals like the C2, the C4, the C8, the C13, C100, as well as Miami Airport lakes and the Lake Ida Osborne chain. Those fish like to hunt the edge of the box cut canals or hang around the structures like the bridges. In the lakes, the docks hold the majority of fish. At dawn, the fish will school on the shoreline. You get a quick bite. Then they're going to move over to the bridges or under the banks or anywhere you see shade. Remember, they're fish eaters, so you can throw, topwater plugs or lipless crankbaits, or take like a Bass Assassin 4-inch turbo shad in that freak show or hot chicken color, something real bright. Throw it down the shoreline, reel it back real quick. You'll get the bite pretty good. Average fish is 1 to 3 pounds, let's say. Fish to 7 pounds being caught this week, though.
All right, thank you so much, Mike. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the TH Marine hotspots for the East region. He says inshore, whiting and croaker at Normandy and Walton Rocks beaches in southern St. Lucie County. The sand fleas and the shrimp and fish bite sandage strips are going to work for those guys. And then offshore, cold water updwelling is pushing the cobia to the surface along the beach near the St. Lucie power plant. Live bait, chartreuse jigs, or saltwater assassin die dappers is going to work for the cobias.
Okay, we're passing the torch to the Discover Crystal River Northwest region next on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, and then we're partying our way over to the CCA workbench for Academy Rigs and Techniques. Dave, I see you have some help over there, Mr. Ray.
Yep, he's going to show us the light. He's going to show us how to catch those big swordfish from the deep.
I love
the
it.
Deep dark. Those are nice on
and how to make some earrings.
Can we
love it.
We need
You've been
red, white,
watching
and
the
blue
show,
lights.
haven't you?
Red, white, and blue lights.
Red,
Let's
white,
go.
and blue
We'll be
lights.
back, guys.
Watch out for the blue light.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats. Always in the game. Sirius XM Marine. Weather, fishing info, and channel surfing. And Daiquiri Deck. Sarasota's favorite place to meet.
Titan and Titan XD Diesel from Harbor Trucks has America's best truck warranty, 5 years, 100,000-mile bumper-to-bumper, and can tow up to 12,000 pounds. Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of Titan XD and Titan in Florida, starting at $29,000. Harbor Trucks is conveniently located halfway between Tampa and Naples. Harbor Trucks, the place to buy.
Meet the water's lightest 25 horsepower four-stroke, the all-new Yamaha F25, the new standard and 25 horsepower portable four-strokes. At just 126 pounds, it's got the best power-to-weight ratio of any 25 horsepower four-stroke on the water. With performance that bests the previous Yamaha F25 and features like Yamaha's VTS for precise trolling speeds, batteryless EFI, built-in resting pads, and carry handles, it's the perfect portable power for small boats.
As close as you're gonna get to a sure thing for catching billfish is Guatemala.
They're here, man. This has been a 20-year run, buddy. These things haven't left. There's no cycle.
When it comes to sail fishing, this is the real deal.
The amount of sailfish here is ridiculous.
Well, here at the Academy Sports and Outdoors Workbench, at the CCA Workbench, you can tell we have a full workbench.
Yes, we do.
Dave, I'm so glad you brought Ray in to talk about.
I'm glad he's here, man, because I can't do what he does. I'll tell you this. Where Ray sword fishes, it's one of the hardest places to do it. There's a lot of them there, but they're very hard to get to. And you know, if you're trying to do this by yourself, you need a fellow like this to at least show you the way the first time. And if you were going to go sword fishing out of South Florida, where would you even start?
We typically fish, like Randy and Mike said, you know, that 15 to 1,800 foot depth, wherever you see good structure, bait, you know, it's like a lot of other fish, they're going to the food.
So in the daytime, you're fishing on the bottom.
Yeah, nighttime, a little shallower, but on the surface, a little different.
I got you. And what kind of gear are you using when you're trying to target these fish? I know as far as the line, you know, and that.
Well, the biggest thing we face is a lot of current. In the east coast of Florida, 3-4 knots of current. So we're using a heavy weight. This is, I think, about a 10-pound stick lead. We use a long line clip for quick attachment to the top of our leaders. Our leaders are 150 feet.
And it's 150 foot of leader.
And it's 200 pound or?
Yeah, 200, 250 is generally the leader of choice. And this is up near the top where it connects to your 65-pound braid. The reason we use 65 is to cut the water. So that the short version is the water at the surface is going much faster than the water at the bottom. So we literally have to chase our lead.
And that small diameter doesn't put a big bow.
Right. Believe it or not, the difference between 80 and 65, you might have to use 50% more lead.
Wow.
So we can use less lead with lighter line. Get in the Keys or in the Gulf, you know, a lot less current, a lot less lead.
Yeah.
So,
I like it.
Yeah.
So when you're doing this, you actually put lights on there when you're fishing real deep as well.
Yeah, you can use the LP light, but most of the guys, again, because of all that resistance, we'll just take some rigging bands with a little mini light, you know, water sensitive light, make a loop, pass the light around that leader, you know, 3 or 4 times. The cool thing about that, we set these lights at about 30 and 60 feet from the bait. The lead's, of course, 150 feet. But once we take the lead off, 2 things. We take the drag back off, because remember, you had a lot of extra drag to lift that weight and the fish.
Right.
And secondly, when you use these little rigging bands, those bands will slide down towards your main swivel 6 or 7 feet from the fish. So you don't have to even worry about the lights. They'll just hold up at the rod tip.
Is there any color preference for, I know a lot of guys, all the guys are different?
Blue and purple are always my favorites at nighttime, but you know, all of them work. You know, light is just such an attractant down that deep.
Yeah. So what about the baits, Ray? You know, is it circle hook versus J hook? I see you got one rigged here. What is this?
The most popular is a tuna style bend, like a Mustad 7691S. That is a go-to hook. J hooks are the hook of choice generally because you can foul hook them. You can hook them in the, you know, they get wrapped up in it. It's dark down there.
Yeah.
And you do foul hook a fair amount, which takes us to the drag too. We don't fish an excessive amount of drag, just enough to keep the fish coming up. But I've used circle hooks and caught a few on circles, but every time you pull one off, then the mates
then you start
change
thinking,
over.
Yeah, right.
They never do that when you miss one on a J hook,
That's
though,
right.
do they? They never blame the hook when the J hook misses them.
Not picking on them. I can't live without them.
I guess.
But they're biting right now. You know, the bottom line is our crew caught like a 350 a couple days ago.
Wow.
And Nick had that picture just a couple days ago. I mean, they're here, so good time to talk about it.
Is this the summertime the best time? Or?
Well, it's the calmest.
Oh, so it's
Seeing
easier.
the bites. Now, stop and think. One last point. You got so much line out there. A calm day allows you to see that bite, which transmitted through that weight sometimes is 1 inch. It's just a little bump. We usually drop back, give them 20, 30 seconds, lock it up.
And hope he's there.
Can I ask him a question?
Yeah.
So Ray, what mistakes do we make? You know, when you get that fish on, I mean, everybody's got their own tricks and techniques, lights and all that, but what's the big mistake that guys make?
Trying to stop a fish when he's making a run. Be patient. Let him burn line. Your reel holds a lot of line, especially 65-pound braid. Don't be in a hurry to pull a hook. Remember, sometimes they're not hooked right in the corner of the jaw, you know? Be patient. And again, when you take that lead off, you're taking a lot of weight off that rig, back your drag off.
And when he's pulling line, he's working.
Yeah.
Right. See, you want him to pull that drag because he's working then, and you're going to wear him out.
The one cool thing, a lot of times, like many billfish, they come to the surface. So sometimes you'll get a bite, you know, you'll drop back, hook them up. Sometimes you just see a really small bump and then slack, literal slack.
That's the good one.
Keep coming.
When he's coming up.
Yeah, he's giving you free line.
He's bringing the bait back to the boat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
A good swordfish will do that, Dave.
Yeah, man.
You know what else? A good co-host to take you to another region.
Oh, that's a good one. I like what you did there.
What a transition.
Very nice. Very nice.
What a transition.
On
What a
fire.
transition. Proud. Okay, let's run on over to Captain Jeff Hagman in the Discover Crystal River Northwest region. But if you want to catch a swordfish, you're going to have to keep on running because they're out there, but they're way out there. So give us some details, Jeff.
We got them, and all the rigs that Ray and Dave and Rick were just talking about will work. We use a little less lead. We've got a little less current on our side. So we use a 5-pound lead. We do use the long line clip to pick it off with, but we also use a 10-pound lead that we attach to a coat hanger to the hook. We drop that down. We actually break that away when we're fishing for them on our side. But that 1,000 to 1,600 feet of water is where you're going to find them. You're going to have to make a long run on our coast to get to them, but the faster boats now with quads are getting out there pretty quick, usually doing overnight trips. In the evening, you can stagger your baits and have 2 or 3 baits out in different depths. Have one pretty deep, have one, again, about 1,000 feet, and bring one up to 600 feet, and another one at 300 feet. But that's all the way to catch them on our coast. Most of the guys are going out there, like I said, doing overnight trips to make it worth their while. And we've got fish ranging anywhere from 120 to 300 plus pounds. So we got them out there. It's just getting out there to make the run. But what we've got a lot of, and a lot of people to get to right now, Captain John Lane of JB Charters out of Apalachicola reports the mangrove snapper bite has showed up good on the flat incoming tide. He's using a chum slick and hanging about 50 to 45 feet of water over structure using a 1-aught mustad circle hook with 3-foot of fluorocarbon leader on a blood knot. And I've got a photo here of an average fish caught by Captain John on a recent charter.
Nice, nice, nice. All right, what else?
We got, it's time to get in the water. It's getting hot. So scallop season is in now, and Captain Mario Costello out of the Plantation Inn on Crystal River reports the scallop's been very good right now around the Gomez Rocks in 4 to 5 feet of water. Limits have been coming pretty easily every day to the local cleaning stations. Most of the scallops have been found sitting right on top of the grass, so you don't need to go digging around looking for them and stirring the water up. There's a little bit of sediment in the water right now, so try and keep your fins off the bottom. That'll keep the visibility a little better and keep you floating up top, and you can see a whole lot better. If you're a first-time scalloper, might want to go on the low tides, watch your tide charts, go out there on the lower tides and start shallow and then work your way deeper if you're a first-timer. And remember to fly those dive flags out there and keep an eye out for other snorkelers when your boat's underway. Staying inshore, Captain Jimmy Huddleston of CaptainHud.com reports a good snook bite right now in Ozona. Says it's been pretty steady right now. The summer heat wave is upon us, and the snook are still working the passes and staying on the drop-offs while the tide's falling. Live baits like pinfish and croakers, he's been pinning to the bottom with a half-ounce piece of lead. Live cut mullet has also been working well for finicky fish, and they're in that post-spawn mode right now, so some of those larger snook have some larger trout hanging around the swash channels with them. So keep an eye out for those too. But a nose hook sardine free line in the current is a good way to catch those specks. And also look around the rock piles and jetties on the beaches. And I've got a really good snook photo here from Captain Jimmy.
Nice.
Very nice.
All right, Hag. Oh, you got another one.
I got it. That was one with me this last week, so we got into them too.
All right, that's my boy.
Picture,
All
yeah.
right, well, we'll see you in a week or so. We're going to be filming a Sportsman Adventure episode over in Punta Gorda. But let's take
some new tuppence.
That's right. Let's take a look at the anytime sunscreen and mosquito repellent hotspots. He says that inshore, the redfish on the top of the tide, you might want to use cut pinfish or ladyfish for bait as they get up underneath the trees. And then offshore, snapper on the high relief structure in 40 to 70 feet of water. Use a tail hook shrimp on a circle hook and a 1/4 ounce on a knocker rig. How about that?
Man, did you see some of those scallops?
Yeah, man.
Oh,
I
that
can
was a good
taste
trip.
the butter.
Do you remember when you got in the water?
I did.
Oh, so proud of you.
I think about it every night.
I didn't even tell you about that shark behind you. I'm just kidding.
That's how I check to make sure I'm still alive, to make sure my heart starts beating, thinking about getting in the water.
He's freaking out. Okay, CCA Star has a great reason for offshore anglers to get registered, because if you are and catch the first star tagged Mahi Mahi, you will win $10,000 in cash. In fact, for the rest of the summer, enter your non-tagged dolphin, kingfish, or grouper in the open divisions for other great prizes. Plus, you will qualify to be entered in the drawing to win a fishing trip with our Fiffer captain, Randy Tao from the Key Keys. So become a member, get registered, catch fish, and be rewarded at ccafloridastar.com. It's that simple.
That's right.
It's really
Take
simple,
the kids
guys.
and get them a scholarship.
Take the kids, get them a scholarship. They're all about giving around here.
Get out there.
I'll get out there. All right, my fellow Americans, stay with us because we are seeing how the Yeti Panhandle and Strike Zone Northeast regions get down on the 4th of July next here on the Florida
Insider
Fishing Report.
Yes, sir.
Woo!
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Swift, Silent, Secure, Bass Assassin, and Saltwater Assassin. The best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventure. Garmin, join the club. Kubota, find a Kubota dealer near you at gokubota.com. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of new and used car and truck inventory in Southwest Florida. Our used vehicle inventory goes through a 120-point inspection process performed by certified technicians. Exclusive to Florida Insider Fishing Report viewers is our Peace of Mind Harbor Truck Warranty. If you don't see what you're looking for, give us a call and we can get it for you. Go to harbortrucks.com and click on the Florida Insider Fishing Report tab.
Real Legends Performance Clothing. Everything you need to be comfortable on the water all day long. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Durable performance technology at an unbeatable value. Shop anytime or go to reallegends.com to find a Bell store near you.
I'm 1,000 miles from nowhere, and there's no place I'd rather be. I'm 1,000 miles from nowhere, and time don't matter to me, 'cause I'm 1,000 miles from nowhere.
So Randy, why don't we talk a little bit about Sirius XM weather and how you're using the wind and waves even before you leave the dock to have a better idea of what's going on out there.
Waves and wind are crucial to going fishing because you don't know if you're sitting at the dock if the waves are going to be 2 foot, 4 feet. You can have an idea with some of it, but this gives you the information of both those wave directions and the wind direction and wind speed. All good information that's going to help you decide where you want to go. So if you're going to go to the reef and catch yellowtails, you want the wind and the current the same way. If you see on here that it's going the same way as the wind, you're going to have a problem because your chum's going to go up your anchor rope and you're not going to catch a yellowtail. Now, it will be more favorable to go sail fishing. That's a great condition for sail fishing or dolphin fishing. So I know by looking at that, before I leave the dock, I want to make sure I have my bait, my tackle to go do that, and I'll change my plans from the reef.
That's 100%, because the truth is what we have is we've got the wind out of the northeast, but we have the waves that are actually going from the southwest to the northeast. So that's a great tailing condition for sailfish.
Absolutely. That indicates some current into the wind because a wave is traditionally going to go the same way the wind is blowing. So what a wave's going to do, they don't go uphill, but they are regulated sometimes by current. And when you see on here those two together, you know that's a condition.
How do you utilize it for going across? Well, a lot of us go across.
You know, same thing. You can scroll out on this and see what the Gulf Stream's going to be 30 miles from here. The weather 30, 40 miles away is a whole different animal than sitting at the dock. And it'd be nice to know ahead of time if you're going to experience 10-foot seas when you make that crossing, because it might be worth waiting a day to do that. So the direction of the wind is really important to know because the Gulf Stream runs northeast, wind out of the northeast, they're together, those waves are going to be big. So you can get a lot of that information just by looking at this to see what you're up against, and it may help in your trip.
And remember, guys, not all the time do you have cell phone service, but you will have the service by the SiriusXM Marine Weather because it's really simple. We reach out over 200 miles, so remember that. If you have any other information that you want to know a little more about it, go to SiriusXM.com/FIFR, and we can answer all those questions for you. You know, Brie, what was driving in the car before Sirius? It was a few channels, a few ideas, but then now we have
static.
All of this stuff.
It's great.
Guess what? If you can learn to incorporate the SiriusXM weather, it's a tool that you can't believe. Every single day I figure out another little thing that gives me an advantage over the other guy leaving the dock.
And that's what it is. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Those are two wise young men up on that screen right there.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So nice.
You're so young. All right, let's light up the Yeti Panhandle region and see what kind of fun holiday weekend we're in for. Captain Patanine, can you help us out with that?
Hey, Bree, first off, SiriusXM game changer offshore, no doubt. But the northern Gulf of Mexico, we have some really consistent sword fishing. It's a year-round fishery. The spur, the dumping grounds, the steps, the DeSoto Canyon, all excellent places to find them, both day and night. Nighttime is a standard drift with baits staggered at depths from 50 to 200 feet down. Use a light 15 to 20 feet above the bait. And baits of choice are large squid, bonita strips, dolphin bellies, rigged on a 150 to 200-pound leader. But daytime is probably the most consistent for catching numbers of swordfish. And Captain Adam Peebles of One Shot Charters in Fort Walton Beach is definitely the guy to go to. His daytime trips consistently have multiple hookups. Average size of the daytime swords, for some reason, are better than at night. Adam likes 1,300 to 1,800 feet of water at the spur of the dumping grounds, targeting areas of relief and stands of bait, and says April and June are the best months in the northern Gulf. And there's a photo of Dr. Ed Sambay with an estimated 225-pound daytime sword caught with One Shot Charters, and that was a hand-cranked swordfish right there.
That's nice. All right, what about some snappers?
Man, staying offshore, the red snapper is still the go-to fish for offshore panhandle fishing, and the red snapper continues to produce. Not quite as easy to catch as they were a couple weeks ago because they've been beat up pretty hard for the last couple weeks, but they're still very dependable. As always, target bottom structure, both natural and artificial, particularly in 90 to 150 feet of water. On the more pressured spots, lighten up your terminal tackle, maybe go with 30 to 40-pound fluorocarbon leaders. But if you're fishing spots that are holding plenty of fish, have a really good show, 50 to 60-pound leaders, and hold on. Baits of choice are the live cigar minnows, herrings. And if you want to go light tackle, a spinner rod, a live shrimp is the way to go. Some big snappers are coming to the docks with some in that 25-plus pound class.
Whoa.
And then moving inshore, the tarpon fishing right now is extremely good throughout the entire Yeti Panhandle region. Schools of fish, they're traveling east to west along that outer sandbar. And if you treat them right, you can expect to get tight. You're going to find the fish, set up west of them, let them come to you, present your bait, lure, or fly. I'm fishing with 30 to 50-pound braid tied to 25-pound fluorocarbon, tied to 60-pound fluorocarbon, tied to a 7-aught circle hook. And you don't need a boat to get into this action. Paddle boarders, kayakers, pier fishermen are all putting tarpon into the air. A week ago, the average size of tarpon being caught was 50 to 60 pounds, which is kind of on the small side. This week, most fish are 90 to 100-plus pounds. We measured one Sunday that taped out at 157 pounds, so that was a really nice one. And there's a photo of Luke Tanner and his father-in-law with a full-grown one. Luke fished with me for 2 days, and we caught plenty of the fish. It was really good fishing.
Wow.
Awesome.
All right, what else you got for us? How about, you ever encounter any sharks while you're catching those tarpon in that shallow water like that?
Yeah, man, there has been. In fact, I saw a giant tiger shark on the beach today. But most of the sharks you're going to find on the beach are going to be the spinners, the black tips, the sharp nose. And most of them are going to be inside the gully between the first and the second sandbars. They can be sight fish with live baits or ladyfish strips on spinning tackle from the boats. If you're fishing from the beach, a ladyfish chunk on a set rig is a primo bait. Most of these sharks are in the 3 to 4 foot range, with some in the 5 to 6 foot range. But like I just said, there are some real monsters cruising the beach. The beaches of Okaloosa Island west of Destin Pass are pretty thick with sharks right now.
All right, thank you so much, Pat. Great report from the Yeti Panhandle region. We're going to take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle region. He says inshore tarpon fishing has been very strong throughout the Panhandle beaches on flies, soft swimming baits, and live baits. And then offshore, big king mackerel have shown up in good numbers along the nearshore Gulf beaches. And guess what? Use live cigar, minos, and herring for baits.
Your voice went up an octave when you saw them in the water like that. Are there any sharks around when you catch a big tarpon like that? Sharks get them every time.
They do.
Okay, now let's get our favorite captain from the Strikes of Northeast region on the line and hear about all of the Independence Day fishing gossip he has for us. Happy 4th of July, Tommy.
Yeah, guys, happy 4th of July. You know, I like to call them S-word fish. We're talking about swordfish this week. You know, guys, it seems like every year there's more and more people getting out there and targeting swordfish here in the Strike Zone Northeast region. You know, the best time of year to fish for those swordfish, it's probably going to be fall through early winter, but really they can be caught year-round. Now, most of the captains that I spoke to say that the moon is going to really play a key role in that swordfish bite. Now, a few days before the full moon is typically going to be the best, and the fish tend to feed when the moon is rising, and then they seem to kind of lay off when it sets. Now, that being said, most Northeast Florida anglers, they're going to target the swordfish at night. Now, some anglers are going to start down in the south end of the region near Daytona, and they're going to drift north all the way up until they get to St. Augustine by the end of the night. And they use some pretty heavy tackle, usually with a big squid rigged on a 10-aught J-hook, excuse me, along with heavy tackle and a big squid, with really heavy tackle, and they're using up to 24 ounces of lead, which seems like a lot, but you got to get it down there. And they're fishing in over 1,000 feet of water. They're going to have baits at varying depths from about 100 to 400 feet deep. Now, there's also some anglers in the region that are doing some daytime sorting as well. Now, those guys are going to use electric reels because they're fishing in 1,500 to 2,000 feet of water, and they're drifting their baits really close to the bottom. Now, not a whole lot of people are going to be willing to go those 80-plus miles to get to those depths, but if you do give it a shot, the sword fishing, it can be pretty darn good out there. Now, there's a lot of equipment and rigging needed for a successful swordfish trip, so if you're thinking about giving it a go, but you're not real sure about all the stuff that's involved, you know, stop by Strike Zone. Dave or one of the guys there in the shop, they'll be happy to help you get set up and definitely steer you in the right direction. Now, I've got a picture here. This is Jason Lucas and Jason Esuke with a nice daytime swordfish they caught last week, 80 miles east of St. Augustine.
Nice.
Now, staying offshore, guys, man, wow, what a great kingfish bite we have happening throughout the region right now. Some big 50-pound-plus fish have been caught this week, both along the beaches and offshore. In St. Augustine, that beach bite has been really good this week, with the average fish in that 20 to 25-pound range. Most guys are trolling live pogies both up on top and on the downrigger. Just keep an eye on your bottom machine and look for bait balls in about 35 to 55 feet of water. That's where those beach kings will be hanging out. Now, offshore, the guys fishing north of Ponce have told me there's some huge schools of blue runners offshore, and the kingfish have been all over those schools of blue runners. Some of those offshore fish have been really big as well, and speaking of big kingfish, I got another picture here. This is A.J. Prosher and Zach Miller with their 52-pound kingfish that helped them win the Ancient City Game Fish Association's Kingfish Challenge this past weekend. That's a big old kingfish there.
Congratulations, guys. Let's go inshore, Tommy.
Kingfish.
All right, you know, guys, the tarpon is still, that bite is still really good this week throughout the entire region. The pogies, they've shown up on some days right along the beach in St. Augustine. Other days, they're kind of hard to find. But if you do find them, the tarpon are in there, and they're feeding big time. First thing in the morning, before those kingfish guys start throwing their cast nets, that's been a good bet to get on those tarpon. Now, once the netters get there, you know, the bite's still pretty good, but they tend to get a little spooky. Now, there's also still some fish behind the shrimp boats, but it's been a little tough getting a bait past all those sharks that are out there. Those sandbar sharks, they've shown up in huge numbers this week behind those shrimp boats. There's also some big tarpon hanging out at the St. Augustine Inlet chasing some of the mullet schools. And it's also best to get on those guys early in the morning before it gets really hot out. Now, also inshore, you know, we've got a great snook bite happening in the south end of the region right now. I spoke to Captain Chris Herrera from PalmCoastFishing.com. He tells me the snook have been chewing in the Palm Coast area. Now, Chris has his clients tossing a Rapala skitterwalk at first light, and then he switches over to a Saltwater Assassin Elite Shiner once the sun comes up and things warm up a little bit. He's targeting oyster bars in that Pellissier Creek flat area.
Now, Chris says he's been targeting schools of finger mullet and small pogies around those bars. I also spoke to Captain Caleb Blackburn, who tells me the snook bite has been good around the Tomoka Basin as well. Now, Caleb is fishing the mouths of the mosquito ditches on that outgoing tide, and those snook, they're busting the finger mullet as they're getting flushed out of those little mosquito ditches. I've got one last picture here. Captain Chris Herrera sent me this picture of a nice snook his clients caught in the Pellicer Flats this past week on that saltwater assassin elite shiner I was talking about.
Thank you so much, Tommy. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Strike Zone Northeast region. He says inshore tarpon in the pogie pods along the beach at first light, and then again at dusk from Fernandina to St. Augustine, and then offshore kingfish throughout the region. 30 to 60 feet of water, slow troll those pogies, or maybe even a big ribbon fish for a big fish bite.
Oh, big fish bite. I like the sound of that. All right, stay patriotic, anglers. You're pretty patriotic. I'm pretty patriotic. Shoot, we're doing good.
Yeah,
all right, we're fishing in the Casa Vieja Southeast region next, but right now I see some nice new shiny things over at the CCA workbench.
What?
Dave.
Dave's patriotic.
Bells is patriotic.
Bells
These
is
are the new
patriotic.
real legends. All this stuff is very patriotic.
So pretty.
Nice.
Exciting stuff. It's supposed to be a 4th of July show.
It is 4th of July.
Oh my gosh.
It's a birthday show, too.
Yes, it is.
Happy birthday
We'll be back, guys.
to you.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. For all, for less. SoftScience, Supreme Comfort Footwear. Real Legends, exclusively at Bell's. Okuma, Inspired Fishing. Discover Crystal River, Florida. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 offshore 4-strokes. For those that like their V6 lighter, faster, and stronger. Setting new standards for power, efficiency, speed, and lightweight. Built for the rigors of offshore boating. Packed with Yamaha's legendary reliability. And now Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 4-strokes offer a choice between digital or mechanical controls to match your rigging preference. Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
How do you aim a 36-yard shot with a 30-yard fixed pin at a 15-degree angle with a 7-inch holdover without moving a single pin? Easy. You get one of these. Zero, the auto-ranging digital bow sight from Garmin.
Well, we're here at the CCA workbench, and
Yes,
CCA
sir.
is very patriotic, and guess what?
All right, we're gonna have to do this by order now. We got
All
it all
right.
laid out per. Okay, first off, this is the men's outfit. This is the Shadester woven. That shirt right there is called the Shadester. Super soft fabric. It stretches really good. It's got a little sunglass cleaner on the bottom. Moisture wicking, quick dry, all the really good stuff from Bell's. And these are the Bonefish shorts. And these are designed for the fishermen, obviously. Sun protection 50, elastic sides, you know, so they, for guys like me.
These are the
that
ones
needs-
you're wearing.
Yes, they're very comfy, by the way. Very comfy. Water repellent fabric, and they have all the nice, plenty of pockets, which I really always like to have.
Yeah, man, you gotta have pockets.
Gotta have next. Next, we gotta move along pretty quick. We got a lot of them. This is the Novelty Real Tech Free Line shirt. Comes in long sleeve or short sleeve, and It's fabric. This fabric is approved by the Skin Cancer Foundation. It's got an SPF of 30, and it's moisture wicking and quick dry. Also very patriotic and very cool with marlin on the bottom.
It has the marlin, and then it also has a vent in the back.
Very vented, exactly.
Keeping your life
correct.
Cool, baby.
Correct. And
pants.
These are the bonefish shorts. I mean,
these
actually,
are sandbars.
those are the sandbar shorts. So they have the beverage pocket in them as well. Also UPF 30 and a lot of really pocket. This is the beverage pocket right here.
Of course, that's very important to some fellas.
Exactly. You got to have a beverage pocket. Next, we have the kids' clothing. This is the boys' novelty free line. Again, that's a quick drying shirt for the little fellas. Moisture wicking as well. The hybrid shorts are very elastic and move, a lot, which, the little guy wearing these is going to be running around moving quite a bit. So, I'm going to get those hybrid shorts for him too. That's the kids one.
I wish I would have had this when Colin and Ridge were little. We would have been like super cool.
I bought my stuff at Sears. That's what I had.
I didn't know the people's at Bells.
Yeah. This is that's the Keep It Cool dress, UPF 50, sweat activated cooling in this. Very nice, very light. I imagine, if guys could wear these kind of things, I would wear this. This is very, imagine this is all you had to wear. This would be great.
It would be.
It would be nice.
Nothing underneath.
They won't let us do that. Again, here's the ladies' free line, the original shirt right there. That's the one that started it all. It's great value, and the little exciting little shorts that goes with them. A lot of freedom of movement, SPF 50 as well.
I think our lovely little Brie would look awesome in these outfits.
Great holiday stuff from Bells. Uh-oh.
What happened?
I thought you pulled something off over there.
No, sir.
Next, we got the steel shads. These are from steelshad.com. My buddy Mike Niemiller, he makes these things. He fishes them a lot in Lake Toho up there. He's a professional bass guide. And he's the one that Mike Holliday always quoting on a Toho. They come with that's a nice one there. That's a 1/4 ounce mini. They also make the 3/8 ounce original. It's a stainless steel, lipless type crankbait. It vibrates like crazy. It's got a couple different points on the top, so you can adjust the depth. They come in different weights, so you can adjust the depth. You can jig them.
Vertical jigging.
Yep, you can jig them up and down, or you can troll them, or just crank them. They're a great overall bait, and they also make a new great big one that's just now coming out. That's going to be for the offshore guys as well.
Can't wait for that. Good job, Steel Shad.
This is the Nomad Chug Norris. I'm sorry.
Norris.
Yeah. Super easy to pop. It's these guys are from Australia. They make a lot of really strong, hard baits because everything in Australia has teeth and wants to destroy stuff. This thing has a giant mouth on it, so that take hardly any effort at all to pop it. The hooks are razor sharp on these things. I don't know who makes them for them, but they're super sticky. Long casting bait, this thing, and all the hardware, if you look at real close, all the hardware on it is super strong. You're not going to break them, that's for sure, once you get them. Nomadtackle.com, all the way from Australia.
Sexy paint job.
Beautiful stuff.
All right, speaking of a sexy paint job, she's in on the Pathfinder.
Thanks.
Come on,
wow.
man.
All right, got it. Thank you. The Chug Norris. I need to meet whoever named that because that is just perfection. All right, where the stars and stripes and the birdies fly, let's chat with Captain Jimbo Thomas in the Casa Vieja region to see what else we can add to our day of catching sorties. Hey, Jimbo.
Hey, Bree and Rick and Dave. Well, traditionally swords were targeted at night, but in the last 15 years or so, daytime sword fishing has become very popular. And lately, both the daytime and the nighttime bite has been very good when that weather cooperates. That's the main thing. You're fishing way offshore. You want to have good weather. Typically, we fish in 1,500 to 2,000 feet of water, which is anywhere from 15 to 20 miles offshore, depending on what part of the region you're fishing out of. We like to use squid, bonita strips, dolphin belly strips. I've caught swordfish on bluefish, mackerel, but live blue runners also work. So basically anything you drop down there, they're apt to bite. And you want to rig them on 300-pound monofilament leaders. Use 10-0 to 12-0 hooks. And you want to put some lights and attach them at the top of your leader. At night, you want to drift a spread of baits at various depths from 50 to 400 feet. Use 50 to 80-pound class tackle. And then in the daytime, Most of us use an electric reel because we're fishing on the bottom in that 1,500 to 2,000 foot range. And we use anywhere from 10 to 15 pounds of weight, depending on what the current is. And the swords that we usually see are anywhere from 50 to 300 pounds or better. Now, I got a photo here, and this is one of the two swords that a friend of mine, Captain Tim Sanders, caught, and it was his first attempt at sword fishing last weekend, and he caught two of them. So they are out there, and they are biting. Now, since we're heading offshore looking for swordfish, we might as well look for some dolphin along the way. The Gulf Stream has been pretty much slick calm in the last few days, making it easy to spot any fish activity or anything floating on the surface. Now, there's been lots of schoolies anywhere from 6 to 15 miles offshore, and most of them have been around scattered weed lines. The only drawback is that a lot of these fish have been on the small side, which is great for the future, but doesn't help us out right this second because we had to let a lot of them go. And unless you get lucky and come across some larger fish, which have been few and far between, you're going to have to weed through the small ones, cull out those keepers. Now, we've been catching most of the fish on cut bait. We like to use bonita, cut bonita, and then any of the larger fish we come upon, we've been pitching live baits to them. And then when the grass hasn't been too bad, we've been getting bites, trolling small feathers, lures, and rigged ballyhoo. And remember that dolphin have to be 20 inches to the fork of the tail to be legal. So try not to beat up these small ones too bad when you're releasing them so we can catch them when they grow up. I got another photo here. This is one of the many small dolphins that we have tagged and released in the past week. So if you do catch one with the tag, try to pin down the location and the time and take the time to report that recapture because it's all for science. Now, moving inshore, flats of Biscayne Bay have been producing some good permit and bone fishing. Any of the outside flats from Soldiers Key south to Angelfish Creek have been good, especially on the incoming tide. A small live crab is what the permit and bones have been feeding the best on, or you can use crab pattern flies or live shrimp, mainly the live shrimp for the bonefish. You want to get out there early in the morning before the sun gets up and gets those flats too hot to the boiling point, or fish late in the afternoon as those flats start to cool down. Now, our other inshore species is mangrove snapper, which they've been biting throughout the region. And you want to look for these mangrove snappers on any bottom structure in the bays, inlets, around channel edges, around bridges, dredge holes, and any wrecks. These are all going to be great places in areas that are holding these mangrove snappers. Now, the best fishing is going to be in the evenings. You want to use cut sardines, ballyhoo, or cut bonita, or small live pilchards, herring, and pinfish. And I wouldn't recommend chumming since that usually attracts a lot of small fish that are bait stealers. And you want to fish your bait on the bottom, use a knocker rig on the outskirts of the structure, and these mangroves have been anywhere from 1 to 4 pounds.
All right, thank you so much, Jimbo. Great report from the Casa Vieja Southeast region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the R&R tackle hotspots. Jimbo says inshore, fish live crabs for permanent bonefish on the outside flats of Biscayne Bay. Use a 2 to 3/0 J-hook with 5 feet of 15-pound fluorocarbon leader if you need a leader. And then offshore, head offshore, look for the seaweed and birds working over the schools of dolphin and have live and cut baits ready.
Just a quick question for people that don't know. Pumpkin swordfish, regular swordfish, what's the difference?
The color of the meat. The
Why?
color inside of the pumpkin swordfish is the color of a pumpkin. It's
Right.
this bright orange.
But why are they orange?
It's just a slightly
What they eat,
different
maybe?
genetics.
Okay, just wondering.
Yeah.
Some people
Just
might be
like, why
wondering.
you tan, I'm so white.
Well, I got an answer for that, but we won't go there. All right, now we want to highlight a little bit more information on the Key West Marlin Tournament taking place July 17th through the 20th, where you can win $50,000 in guaranteed cash prizes coinciding with the annual Hemingway Days celebration. Entry is limited to the first 75 boats, so make sure to get registered ASAP at the Key West Marlin Tournament. KeyWestMarlin.com. All right, oh say can you see the Bell's Central East and Southwest regions coming? We can, so hang tight and we'll be right back. But before we go, we want to remind you that if you want to be up to date on all things fishing in Florida and what this crazy fun crew is up to, make sure to visit our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us on YouTube, and check us out on Instagram. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala, another great day. Startron, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Yeti, built for the wild. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. And Strike Zone Fishing.
Titan and Titan XD Diesel from Harbor Trucks has America's best truck warranty, 5 years, 100,000-mile bumper-to-bumper, and can tow up to 12,000 pounds. Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of Titan XD and Titan in Florida, starting at $29,000. Harbor Trucks is conveniently located halfway between Tampa and Naples. Harbor Trucks, the place to buy.
Oh, there it is. You can either stay busy fishing or get busy catching. From Texas to Tampa Bay or Key West to the Carolinas and beyond. For nearly 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites. Ask for Fish Bites and Fish Bites Fight Club lures by name or visit fishbites.com.
Find Florida's soul and discover Crystal River. Explore warm Gulf waters, spring-fed rivers, bountiful lakes, and fantastic fishing. Dive into adventure and enjoy the only place in the world where you can swim with the manatees. Treat yourself and your family to outdoor fun, rich history, and a relaxed coastal lifestyle. Discover Crystal River, Florida.
Welcome back, ladies and gents. We talk about it every week, but Harbor Trucks has partnered with Casa Vieja Lodge. And remember that 2 lucky winners will get a 4-day, 3-night trip to come fish in Guatemala with Rick and me at Casa Vieja Lodge. So make sure to head over to our website at FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com to enter. That was going to be so much fun.
I like that you used Rick and me. You know, we got an email.
Well, you know, grammar's important.
Rick and me.
Grammar's important here, and sometimes, you know, if it gets by us. Anyways, it's a party in the USA, and it's a party in the Bell's Central East region where Captain Jim Ross is FaceTiming us from. What's good for this weekend, Jim?
Well, I'll tell you, Bree, the swordfish around here, the guys are targeting them in the daytime. And, you know, it's one of those things where it's just pretty much about like it is everywhere else on the East Coast. You're going to look at 1,500 to 1,800 feet is where you're going to want to target those fish. And things like belly strips work really good. So from dolphin, bonita, barracuda, those all make really, really great strip baits. And of course, your large squid also work really well. Now, electric reels are preferred for this type of fishing, but anglers still try to crank them up by hand the old-fashioned way once in a while if they're really in for a workout. You want to look for areas where you're marking squid on your sounder, and then bump drift your baits and keep it in the middle of those marks if you can. So if you have 3 to 4 guys, it's really beneficial because everybody can kind of take a turn looking at the rod tip to make sure that there's just even the slightest twitch that might indicate a bite from a swordfish, and they need to get on that real quickly. The bite's been pretty good lately. Guys are getting sometimes 2 to 5 shots per day, and most of our swordfish are running from about 60 to 125 pounds. Now, our sailfish bite's been pretty good. We've got a midsummer sailfish thing going on right now for some reason in the Bell Central East region. And the sailfish have been hooking up anywhere from about 70 to 160 feet of water from Vero to Cape Canaveral. Now, up in the northern section of my region out of Ponce, you want to check like from 80 out to about 250, and the sails aren't quite as prevalent up there as they are down to the south. Live greenies, live pilchers all work really well. If you can get some naked ballyhoo and chin weight those, they seem to work well. Now, Taylor Matheny of Cocoa got a real nice sailfish the other day that struck one of his kingfish baits on 8A Reef out of Canaveral. And Captain Skip on the Warp Speed found sailfish actively feeding near Bethel Shoal east of Sebastian earlier this week. Most of those sailfish are running 30 to 50 pounds. right now. Now, I also got a guy, James Fucci, and his friends that landed this 51-pound wahoo that they cast a whole squid to in 80 feet of water off Sebastian, and they were using a spinning rod with 50-pound test mono leader and a 4-aught hook that they had set up for snook, but it was the only thing they had they could grab real quick to pitch out to that thing.
Let's go
now
inshore.
swinging inshore.
Yeah.
Speckled trout. I spoke with Captain Randy Beach at Hook and Guide Service up in New Smyrna, and he was saying the big trout seem to be biting in that Edgewater and Oak Hill area really well this week. Now Captain Randy's getting his guys out on the water early, and they're using live pigfish to get some of these larger fish to bite. Soft plastic jerk baits and topwater plugs will also work if you want to throw artificial lures. And the water temperatures are running in the mid to upper 80-degree range, so try to fish the incoming tide, especially in the mornings when possible. You simply get a better bite then. The Indian and Banana rivers aren't quite as consistent, but pigfish, pinfish, and mullet seem to be working there as well. And I have a nice picture that Captain Randy sent me of Brianco Carla with this beautiful speckled trout that she caught in the Bell Central East region this week.
Framer.
Now my last species is snook, and anglers are fishing the beaches and the inlets right now, and this is some of the best snook fishing of the year. The snook are all pretty much oversized adults, and they're in their summer spawning rituals, so you want to make sure you handle them very carefully and put them back in the water as quickly as possible. But live croakers, pilchards, and pinfish are working best at this time. Now, if you want to throw a 5-inch dye dapper, the black shad color, or a Rapala X-Rap 12 or 14, the black and silver is what you want to throw. And then, of course, got a picture again here with John Spooner, and we were slow trolling for tarpon the other day and got a really, really nice snook, that 42-inch snook right there, just south of Sebastian Inlet, right on the beach in about 8 feet of water.
Hey, Jimmy, I got a question for you. So I want to ask you, you know, the big redfish in the lagoon, if a guy wants to catch one of those, what time of year is best to do that? The fall?
Well, typically the fall, Rick. Most of our bigger fish have left the lagoon right now, and they're out at the inlets and running along the beaches. So a big cut bait out on the water seems right now, but you can get them in the fall back in the lagoon system.
All right, bud, thank you so much. We're going to go and take a look at the hot spots from the Central East region. He says that offshore, king mackerel on a 70 to 90 foot reef, slow troll or drift with a live or frozen sardine on a wire stinger rig. And then inshore, juvenile tarpon near the creek and culvert outflows, use small jigs or flies that imitate glass minos.
Minos, you said that ever since I've said that. All right, let's continue the celebration of America in the Bell's Southwest region with Captain Ronnie Houston, who's got some fun inshore and offshore news for the weekend. Hey, Ronnie.
Hey, Brie and Rick, it's a pleasure being here. You know, obviously we don't have swordfish in the region, but we've got some beautiful weather for this 4th of July week, so I've got some good tips for you. Concentrate on the offshore side on the permits. You want to concentrate right now from Indian Key to Wiggins Pass, wrecks, towers, and artificial reefs, obviously modern weather, which we're going to have all week, and a couple of different ways to fish them. You can either anchor up and freeline live crabs, or add just a little weight to get them below the surface, or you can drift the surf. You know, you can drift on the outskirts of the structure with the wind at your back, with a couple of crabs out the back, again, with and without weight, to figure out where these permit might be in the water column. Also, you can look for these permit on top, especially if we got flat seas. I got a nice picture of a permit that was just caught out of Naples by Captain Steve on the Misbehaving. So the permit bite is definitely on, and with the weather, you're going to catch it. Now, also, on the offshore side, the gag groupers. With the weather being nice, like I said, for the last few days, getting great reports south and north throughout the whole region. Captain Corey McGuire and Mike Avenant reports key depths for both captains have been the 140 to 160 feet. Also, though, it's not a guarantee to go to March spot. These guys have been having to work for it. One of the main things for both captains is good water movement and patience. Both captains tell me, depending upon the current, 6 to 10 ounces of lead and live baits like pinfish, herring, squirrelfish, are catching those gag groupers specifically. The live baits are getting the gag. And I got a couple nice pictures of a trip I just went on. That's a picture of myself and Chris Reggio with a nice 40-pound gag. I've got another picture of a nice gag in the 37-pound range with Captain Mike Avenant. And I've got another picture of a red grouper that's just caught to the north that was caught on cut baits with Captain Corey McGuire. So if you're looking for the big gags, live baits are going to be the way to go. Now, on the inshore side, the triple tail. This is the time of year where these fish come in to spawn. You want to concentrate your efforts from Plover Key to Indian Key, fishing markers, tide lines on the outer Gulf Islands, blowdowns, and the abundance of deadwood all along the shoreline. And this really involves covering water, especially for the guy who's wanting to learn. The triple tails are not just going to jump up and show up in front of you. You got to put in the time, and really right now, the tide doesn't really matter. Key baits for those fish are going to be like pilchards, finger mullet, and a variety of artificials like the bass assassin shrimp and the 4-inch, and the sea shad. Also, when you use these artificial baits for live baits, a strong circle hook and a strong jig head is going to make the difference, especially when you hook a nice one. And I got a nice picture of a triple tail I just caught in the southern end of the region. Now, up to the north redfish, bull bait, turtle bait, and the west wall on the higher stages of the tide using cut baits against the mangrove. Those baits are going to be cut ladyfish, herring, and pinfish with enough weight to keep the bait on the bottom to attract the fish. The smell is going to bring those fish to you. But on the lower stages of the tide, artificial baits like gold spoons, topwater walk the dogwood, and soft plastic bass assassin, 4-inch sea shad. The colors right now are going to be golden brim, root beer, and drunk monkey. Also, fantastic the potholes in the lower stages of the tide, and the potholes and troughs, especially you want to concentrate on looking for the schools of mullet. Then redfish should be there. Weather's going to be great all week. Hope everybody has a great 4th of July weekend.
Hey, Ronnie, I got a question for you, bud. So my question is that, you know, we've got the Independence Day this weekend, 4th of July, of course. But we've been talking a couple years now, Brie and I, about coming over and fishing the tournament for the Warriors in September. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what we can expect? We're going to get signed up this week.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. I've had an event over the years. This one here is real special to me because it's to show the armed forces how we really do appreciate them for all the hard work and effort keeping this country safe. But I'm going to tell you right now, there's probably going to be well over 100 captains there. We're going to be doing inshore. We're going to be doing offshore. They're going to take them golfing for a day. They're going to put them up in the hotels for a couple of days. And we're going to take them fishing. And it's going to be an event where they're going to have an inshore tournament and an offshore tournament. I'll tell you what, Rick and Brie, I'm really looking forward to you guys getting there. I promise you, Rick, this will be one event to remember and look forward to going to every year. So support our forces on September 8th. Get out into the Naples, take a soldier fishing, and you're going to have a great time.
All right, Poppy. Well, I think we're going to film a Sportsman's Adventure episode if Steve says it's okay. I'm going to fish with you out of my Pathfinder, and Brie's going to go with Mike Avedon. It'll be the first time she ever gets to go. Yeah, and obviously, we'll be sharing the boat with a couple Warriors. So really appreciate you putting us on that. It's time for me to go to the Caddy Can hotspots from the Southwest region. He says inshore, juvenile tarpon and snook, Punta Gorda, Cape Coral, nighttime fishing, intercoastal docks and seawalls with good moving water. And then offshore, mangroves and yellowtails, Marco to Fort Myers Beach fishing structure in 80 to 110 foot depths chumming and using 20 to 30 pound fluorocarbon while using cut bait, Brie.
All right, well, there sure is a lot to be happy about and thankful for on this 4th of July. And coming up next, we're getting happier in the Star Tron Central West region, only on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Stay hooked.
I'm hooked.
Hooked.
Yup.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Suffix, always use the best line. The IGFA, Fish for the World. Sportsman's Adventures, fishing for adventure. And Bells, everything you need to live life local.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO Offshore.
Life beyond the gravitational pull of the city requires a can-do attitude. It takes versatility to accomplish all that needs to be done, and enough power to never get in over your head. The Kubota L-Series tractor pulls up its bootstraps, hooks up to its many attachments, and gets the job done right. That's why it's the #1 selling compact tractor in America.
Find a Kubota dealer near you at gokubota.com.
Pump up the performance in all of your engines.
gets into gear with StarTron.
Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of new and used car and truck inventory in Southwest Florida. Our used vehicle inventory goes through a 120-point inspection process performed by certified technicians. Exclusive to Florida Insider Fishing Report viewers is our Peace of Mind Harbor Truck Warranty. If you don't see what you're looking for, give us a call and we can get it for you. Go to harbortrucks.com and click on the Florida Insider Fishing Report tab.
Today's power pole tip of the week is becoming more stealth with your poles. Now guys, think about this. We have 3 speeds on our power poles, and the one thing that we need to understand is that we can manipulate those speeds. We can go fast, medium, or stealth mode. Now whenever I'm making a move from an oyster bar over to a point, and I know I'm only gonna pick up the poles a few inches at a time, I simply click it into the stealth mode so that I can keep the noise level down to a very, very quiet approach. Now, you guys that love to bass fish and you're fishing fish that are on beds, that approach is the same thing. Make sure that you go into the stealth mode so that you can sneak up on those beds, put your poles down, and the bass doesn't know you're there. Keep in mind that by simply manipulating the speeds through your multifunction switch or through the app using the key fob, this will make a great approach, and that's today's power pole tip of the week.
Just being stealthy over here. All right, we've got our firecracker Captain Jeff Page joining us FaceTime from the StarTron Central West region. Hey Page, you're looking pretty patriotic.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm not as patriotic as y'all, but you know what? In the StarTron Central West region, it's a little bit of a trek to get out to the Swordfish, but once you get out there to the region where he is, it's no problem catching him, especially at night. According to my friend Captain Chris Seeger, nighttime fishery in our region's a lot better than the daytime. Although there is some fish caught during the day, they like to start at 1,000 feet, Rick, over rips and ledges, and they'll work their way out to 1,700 feet deep. You want to control that area. You want to fish that same area that you troll during the day at night, and you're going to set up 3 or 4 rods, one at 100 feet, one at 200, and one at 300 with squid and a strobe light. He says he likes to use 50-pound test tackle or heavier because, you know what, we do have some big swords in our region. And I've got a couple photos tonight. First one is a longtime client of Tight Lines, Lonnie from Texas, with a nice sword. And then the second one is Captain Chris Seeger, Brandon Muller, and Stacy Capps aboard the Family Matters with a really nice sword.
That is
What else you got for us offshore, Paige?
All right, we got Red Grouper. Captain Tim Noe of the Flying Fish Fleet is still having excellent half-day and three-quarter-day Red Grouper trips, and he's mixing in red snapper with them. They're fishing in 110 to 130 feet of water using a mixture of frozen sardines as well as live pinfish. And the key, Rick, he's been finding hard bottom areas, producing big bait stacks, and he's using standard bottom rigs and chicken rigs. And I've got a photo tonight of 2 happy clients, Rob and Sam, with Captain Josh Pruner of Rippin' Lips with 2 nice Red Grouper.
Let's go inshore. Yes, sir.
Moving inshore, redfish. You know what? We're getting some afternoon thunderstorms and the full moon approaching. A lot more fish have been showing up throughout the entire region, and especially up around the Fort DeSoto area on the higher stages of the tide, around Tarpon Key as well as Conception Key. And then over on the east side of the bay from Joe Bay, south to Terracea Bay on the higher tide, around the Oyster Bar. Cut ladyfish as well as live pinfish under a cork have been working real well. If you like throwing soft plastics, it's tough to beat the saltwater assassin Mama's Chicken 4-inch sea shad on a quarter ounce chartreuse jig head. And late afternoon low tides, you're going to want to fish the drop off edges or the sand holes. And I've got a really good redfish photo tonight of young Alex and Dylan Schaefer with 2 little rat reds they caught with me last week.
Oh, Paige. What did they catch those on, Paige? What did they catch them on?
They caught those on Saltwater Assassin Golden Brim jerkbait.
Oh, they were casting and everything.
Oh my gosh, they're good anglers. Those are British Mike's grandkids.
Oh, those 2 little boys are the bomb. All right, you got one more species to go.
One more
What you got?
species, the mangrove snapper, just like you in Florida Bay, with this full moon approaching around the grass flats in the little sand cuts. Same game that you showed me down there. They get on that hard bottom and on those grass edges. And the key, Rick, is having the smaller filters, the small hatch bait, and they don't even have to be alive. You can put them on a small number 1 or 2 size hook with a little split shot, drop it down there, and let the current take it. You're going to catch 14 to 16 inch mangrove snappers. 12 to 15 pound fluorocarbon leader has been the ticket. And I've got a really nice bay mangrove snapper photo of a happy client caught with Captain Jason Prito of Steady Action Charters out of Ruskin. I'm wishing everybody a happy 4th of July. Be safe out there and have a good fun weekend.
Hey, Paige, I
Thanks,
noticed you got a
Paigey.
daiquiri deck hot raw bar. We're going to be there in July. Yeah, I almost said hot spot.
I know you did. You're a hot spot,
You're
Jeff.
coming, aren't you, Bree?
Yeah, she's coming.
Yeah,
Me,
of course.
you, and Bree.
We'll be there. We're going to have
Monday Night Mania. That's what we're going to
Monday
call
Night
it.
Mania.
Down in Venice, daiquiri deck in Venice, right?
I love it. We're all going to
That's
get
right.
shirts, right?
All right, we're going to get shirts just
We'll
like
start
that.
promoting it all these
Except
next
we're going to get you a
couple
tank
weeks.
top.
Okay.
All right. All right, we'll see you later, Paige. Thank you. Great report. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the daiquiri deck, Central West hotspots. Captain Page says inshore tarpon, lots of tarpon off the beaches from Minnesota Key north to Venice. Past crabs, blue crabs on a 7/0 circle hook, try 40 to 60 pound fluorocarbon leader. And then offshore, red snappers, good red snapper bite over hard bottom areas in 110 to 130 feet of water off of Anna Maria. Use cut sardines or squid for bait.
Hey, well, I'm just going to fine tune those daiquiri deck details.
Oh, I didn't know we had this. Dad burning. I'm so sorry.
Of course we do. We got to let the people know where we're going to be. We're going to be at Daiquiri Deck at the Venice location, July 22nd from 6 to 8 p.m. So come join Rick, Jeff, and myself for some great food, some fun, and of course, some ice cold daiquiri.
Are you going to have one?
Of course I am.
Okay.
I love daiquiri.
I'll have one with you.
Okay.
Probably
we'll
the
go
first one I
clinkety-clink
ever have.
in our nice
Clinkety-clink.
daiquiri. First daiquiri. That's good. Good to know. All right, we hope to see you there. Patriots, the reports are in and the fish are just waiting to be caught this 4th of July weekend. But before we let you go and enjoy this sweet land and sea of liberty, we want to tell you what we're catching next week right here on the Florida Insider Fishing
Report.
I heard you try to get in on that.
Happy
Okay.
birthday,
Titan
Bree.
and Titan XD Diesel from Harbor Trucks has America's best truck warranty, 5 years, 100,000-mile bumper-to-bumper, and can tow up to 12,000 pounds. Harbor Trucks has the largest selection of Titan XD and Titan in Florida, starting at $29,000. Harbor Trucks is conveniently located halfway between Tampa and Naples. Harbor Trucks, the place to buy.
Master your most challenging offshore experience with confidence and ease with Yamaha Helmmaster. Precise, intuitive control on the open seas. Unrivaled ease for maneuvering and docking in port. And now SetPoint adds 3 new dimensions to boat control. Maintain boat position with fish point, or a position and heading with stay point, or a heading while you drift with drift point. Yamaha Helmmaster. Now with SetPoint. Complete digital control for today's larger offshore boats.
For the bass that thinks it's a bulldog. For the walleye that thinks it's a freight train. For the tuna that thinks it's a torpedo. For the tarpon that thinks it's a tarpon. You need the mono that thinks it's a braid. Suffix Advance. New Advanced Mono with HMPE braid molecules for strength, abrasion resistance, and low stretch. Suffix Advance. The mono that thinks it's a braid.
Do things. Be sane. Don't fritter away your time. Create. Act. Take a place wherever you are.
All right, make sure to tune in next week because we are talking all about sharks, Rick's favorite.
Whoa.
We love to get in the water with them sharks, right?
Yes, we do.
What is all this
Brie,
we have
happy
here?
birthday.
Thank you. I think this is my
The
crown.
last year, Brie.
Last year, 29 and feeling fine, people.
Last
Feeling
year
fine.
for being in the 20s.
Oh my gosh, look
And
at
happy
the
birthday to my
swag
boy
list.
Spencer as well. He
Happy
was
birthday, America.
yesterday.
Happy birthday to our cameraman George on the
George
tomorrow.
got a cameraman too.
This is great.
Ready?
Thank you guys so
Go
much.
ahead.
Great 4th of July.
Yay!
We'll see you guys next week.
Man,